our first piece of news actually comes from a few different rumors. Have you, I know Daniel's heard of these, but have you known about any of these rumors, Holly? Apparently there was a leak a while back, which I have a couple of videos talking about this already with someone who was at the source or near the source of the rumors. So anyways, these rumors a long time ago, there was some post on some forum talking about a list of rumors. One of these rumors was that Grezzo, who previously worked on Ocarina of Time 3D, Majora's Mask 3D, and helped or worked with Nintendo on Triforce Heroes, they recently released Ever Oasis, which was their own original game. It was like the first non-Zelda remake that they worked on. So since they released that, the rumor was that they also had a Link's Awakening, which originally came out on the Game Boy. So then they had Link's Awakening DX, and they ended up releasing like a port specifically for the 3DS, which had the same graphics, but it was in color, and it gave you like some new worlds or something. I don't know it like that. No?
There's in Link's Awakening DX, there's a color dungeon.
Yeah, maybe that's what I'm thinking about.
It's like a bonus dungeon that wasn't in the original.
Yeah, so they already have that that you can buy on the eShop for the 3DS, or the Virtual Console at least. So the rumor is that I think they also worked on that port for the 3DS. But anyways, Grezzo done a lot of Zelda stuff for the 3DS. The rumor is, since they finished their last project, they had a remake for Link's Awakening that would be in the style of A Link Between Worlds. So similar to how they took A Link to the Past and then like remade it into A Link Between Worlds, which is like a new story. But the world it's the same world but updated graphics. The rumor is they did the exact same thing to Link's Awakening, which was a very outdated game because it runs on the original Game Boy. So that was the rumor, that it was supposed to release last year, but because Nintendo had a focus on Breath of the Wild, they didn't want to release two Zelda games in the same year, which I find stupid, because we had, I think in the same year, we had Hyrule Warriors Legends, Majora's Mask 3D, and Twilight Princess HD. Like 3 Zelda games all in the same year. So I don't see it as Nintendo not wanting to release 2 Zelda games in the same year, because typically we've gotten 2 to 3 in the past few years, aside from 2017, which was the only year that there was just the one Zelda game. But before that, we kept on getting like Zelda game after Zelda game. It was a bunch of remakes or spin-offs like Hyrule Warriors, but we would get them. So that was the rumor, and it's interesting, but I'm not convinced that it's real, because I spoke with the person who kept spreading the crap out of this rumor, getting everyone to believe it. I would go to random forums that because he doesn't have a popular following on Twitter or anything like that. He's known, but not like a few hundred Twitter followers, I would guess, maybe 1,000. So it's not like he has millions of followers. Like who was releasing the last set of rumors before the Switch came out? It was like Laura Kate Dell and someone else. It was getting popular. All of the...
I know who you're talking about. I can't remember what their name was, though.
Yeah, so like they kept on spreading rumors, and sites like IGN, Go Nintendo, Kotaku would always use quotes for them. So they would get... They pretty much got famous spreading some of these rumors. Some of the rumors turned out... Yeah, and I think
they were doing it with those intentions,
Yeah, basically. I think this person was spreading the rumor just... whether they're true or not, I don't know. But as I talked to him, I talked to the person that he said also knew it. I talked to the person who owns the website, who he writes for. So I talked to a lot of people that he kept on bringing up that also knew about these rumors. And what I came to is that they are, at least this rumor of Link's Awakening, they could be working on it now, because Grezzo is working on a new game. We don't know what it is. It could be Link's Awakening, but as for it supposedly being delayed because they didn't want to release it alongside Breath of the Wild, I don't see that at all.
Right.
Because they recently released, what was it? Ever Oasis.
Oasis, yeah.
So that was the game that they just released last year, when it got closer to the holiday season, I guess, or maybe a few months before. And they only have the one development team. So they couldn't be working on like 2 games with one team. Where Nintendo has the Zelda team that works on games like Breath of the Wild, and then they have their handheld Zelda team that works on games like A Link Between Worlds and Triforce Heroes. So Grezzo just has the one studio. And then one person was saying that the person who was spreading the rumors was saying that at first it was being developed with the A Link Between Worlds engine, but then he's mentioned that it was being developed for Unreal Engine, which the 3DS can't
handle.
Because that's games like the new Final Fantasy 15 remake and stuff like that. Like 3DS couldn't, like,
no, never.
You could probably put it on there, but it would be running at like 1 frame a second.
I think it would blow it up.
Yeah. So
you'd see steam coming out of your 3DS as it's trying so hard to run it.
Yeah.
So
turn it off.
I went and asked the person who everyone was saying was the source of the rumor, and didn't get any reliable information from them. They referenced an anonymous post on a popular gaming forum, which anyone can make an anonymous post, and the other rumors that was on this list weren't true. But instead of giving up on this, I wanted to get to the bottom of it, because I was, or am, sort of friends with the person who was spreading the rumors, and whenever I would go like on random Facebook groups for Zelda or YouTube channels and stuff, and there would be people talking about him and the rumors, and I'm like, how does these people even know this guy? And it would be because the rumors and stuff would get a lot of retweets, and it was people basically saying like, he's just trying to do this to get popular. If he says, because it's not just that rumor, he tries to list a bunch of different rumors, and everything that I've been seeing is really negative, so it's like ruining his credibility, which is why I wanted originally to get him on the channel to talk about it, but he said he couldn't come on because his mic, he doesn't have a microphone or something like that. And I said, well, you can, like, if you have a phone, like a smartphone, you can just download Discord or something, and you don't need an actual microphone. Or
you just use your phone.
Yeah, like
too.
The quality doesn't matter. I just want to get you on to clear up any misconceptions.
Talk to you.
So that was basically like I did the research. I talked to a bunch of people. I talked to almost everyone anyone said knew anything about it. They all pointed back to the same person, and that person pointed to this random anonymous post. So which, like, I could go right now, make a post saying that Breath of the Wild is getting a 3DS remake, and that wouldn't be any more credible than this rumor.
Yeah, so, there's no real source to it.
Yes. And so as far as I'm concerned, that rumor is like put to rest, but it would be cool to have a Link's Awakening remake on the 3DS.
Yeah,
or
it would be
Nintendo
beautiful
Switch.
if it was made in a Link Between Worlds style. So
then the second rumor is a lot more simpler. There's actually a little bit of weight behind it, because Nintendo has been reaching out to different websites like IGN, some of the bigger gaming websites, to use their quotes. So like asking them permission to use quotes from their reviews. And there's also people saying that the websites have also been asked to repost or refresh their reviews and articles about A Link Between Worlds, which would make me think that maybe an A Link Between Worlds HD remake is coming to the Switch. They've brought several Wii U games to the 3DS. They've put 3DS games on the Switch. They've put Wii U games on the Switch. So Nintendo's put like if a game comes out on one platform, there's a chance that they'll likely put it on the Switch. So my thought was maybe they're doing that with A Link Between Worlds. Maybe that's what Grezzo was working on. That's why the rumor maybe began about Grezzo working on a Zelda game with the A Link Between Worlds engine. Maybe they're just porting this game to the Switch or something. So, but yeah, unlike the last rumor, there are actual things pointing to A Link Between Worlds getting either remade, or Daniel said something interesting about possibly...
yeah, I think it's gonna be Nintendo Select. Yeah, A Link Between Worlds, because Ocarina of Time 3D, Twilight Princess is Wii release. Lots of like quality and Zelda games have all hit Nintendo Select, and A Link Between Worlds, I'm pretty sure it did sell pretty well. So
it's
there's
great.
no, and it's super well reviewed, and it's one of my favorite Zelda games. So I see no reason why it shouldn't be Nintendo Select, and and it'd be great as an opportunity to sell this game at a reduced price for people that haven't, because there have been some really good games that I've got as Nintendo Select, like Pikmin, that I wouldn't have gotten if it weren't at that reduced price. So.
Right, yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
so...
I'd be down. I would totally buy it.
Yeah, Daniel's thoughts is basically they're going to reduce the price to like the $20 Nintendo Select game and then relaunch it on the 3DS. Not necessarily it being remade. And then they're just using those quotes to put on the box, so they can say like IGN 10 out of 10 or whatever. Yeah. But Holly, what are your thoughts on this? I went on for about 10-15 minutes talking about it, but I wanted to explain it all. Okay. Yeah, I wanted to explain it in depth. So, what are your thoughts on this, Holly?
Well, I would love them to make it A Link Between Worlds for the Switch. I would love them to port it over. I have a tragic story. A few years ago, I was traveling, and I somehow left my 3DS and all of my games in my carrying case somewhere. On an airplane, I don't know. On a seat somewhere in an airport, I have no idea. But I lost my 3DS, and I lost all my games. So when
I've never heard a more stressful story in my life.
Yeah, when I went to... I rebought my 3DS, the Nintendo version, the cute Nintendo one, controller, and the only game I bought for it was Majora's Mask. I'm like, I'm not rebuying everything.
It's a good game to get with it.
Yeah, so I rebought Majora's Mask, and I never rebought anything else.
Hannah Montana's secret tour or something like
no, but I was kind of a little bit devastated, and I definitely more careful, and it doesn't even like leave my house as much anymore. So I would, if anything, I would rather buy A Link Between Worlds on my Switch again instead of 3DS.
Yeah, and it would be really interesting. Like you mentioned, you bought Majora's Mask, the remake for the 3DS. So in that game, like they changed a bunch of the stuff from the original. Like they changed where the bank was located in Clocktown. They added in 2 fishing ponds that weren't even in the original. So if they did remake or bring A Link Between Worlds to the Nintendo Switch, what kind of changes would you like to see? Because the Switch a lot more powerful than the 3DS. Yeah. So there's a lot of technical stuff that they could do on the Switch that they may have wanted to do on the 3DS version but couldn't. So what are some things like that you would like to see?
Make that baseball minigame a little bit easier, please.
Oh yeah.
just a little bit easier.
I don't know. Like I think
that thing's harder than Ganon. Okay.
Oh no. I mean, the game itself was really, really pretty on the 3DS. I loved it. I thought it was fantastic. I don't know if I would really change much about it, especially like technical terms. I think it would play and look really, really good on the Switch already.
You think it would be perfect the way it is?
Pretty much. I mean, I don't know. It's like the style of it's good. It doesn't age badly.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So.
Yeah. Well, and also, Jesse, a while back, I mean, you posted those those videos that kind of compared how like 3DS games would look in HD.
Oh yeah, I did
and
that
like,
with Majora's Mask and maybe Ocarina
and
of Time.
Pokemon, I think as well. Yeah, and it's just like the 3DS. When it's emulated, and I don't really do a lot of emulating myself, but like when it is emulated like that and it's in HD, like the 3DS games, they do look really good. Like they are detailed, and there might be some things that they'd have to clean up or maybe up-res, but like for the most part, like the models in those games and stuff are like already really good. So they probably wouldn't have to do too much to make the game look much better. Like to keep it true to its style, I don't think it would be like visually a lot of overhaul needed. Just maybe wider screen support, and you know, the 3DS is pretty capable, even if it's kind of, you know, on the older age of things now. But
yeah, it depends on the style of game. Some things just keep like Wind Waker. Basically, Wind Waker looked better for longer than Ocarina of Time, for example. You know, it looked like garbage.
Or Twilight
later.
Princess that came after it, even.
Exactly, it looked like garbage. So you kind of had to like fix a lot of stuff when you were porting it over.
I remember going back around the time Skyward Sword released, which was only like 5-6 years after the original Twilight Princess came out, and I was playing it on the Nintendo Wii. I only played the GameCube version before that, but I was so used to playing like PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360 games that were in HD at the time. So like I would go back and play Twilight Princess, and I was like, this doesn't look nearly as good as I thought it did.
Yeah.
Then,
you're like, oh.
Yeah, they have the Wii U, the official HD remake, and it looks great. Like I don't think it looks as great as Wind Waker HD does, but it still looks really good.
I agree.
Yeah, it's just harder. It's just harder to make look better because you're already dealing with such crappy looking game.
But the thing is, like, when you have an art style, like, that art doesn't age the same way. If you're trying to make something look realistic, that will age, like, pretty quickly, too. Which is why, like, when a lot of people kind of complained that when Breath of the Wild was showing that they wanted more realistic art styles, like, no, this is a great balance. Like, this game is gonna look good, and it's gonna keep looking good for a long time.
In some scenes, it looks like you're playing an anime, so...
Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing, that's why I think Wind Waker, like with Wind Waker HD, they did less work on it to visually overhaul it than they did with Twilight Princess HD.
Yeah, of course. Yeah,
But Wind Waker HD looks, even though they did less work, they basically changed the lighting and made it widescreen. And just like a few other tweaks, and other than the gameplay stuff they changed. But visually speaking, they did very little. Whereas Twilight Princess HD, they changed texture, like totally redrew new textures for like almost everything.
Yeah, they have to.
Yeah. And Wind Waker HD just looks, it just still outshines it completely because it has that style that is ageless, basically.
That I hated.
Did you?
I didn't play it on the GameCube at all.
Oh no, I was
one of those. I was one of those people that was like, nope. How dare you?
Oh,
so I never played it until the HD. Yeah.
I was like that until I got it for Christmas, and as soon as I started playing it, it was just like, no, I'm good. I'm into this.
No, I never even touched it, never wanted to. And I was like, okay, fine, they made it HD. I think I'll play it. And then I was like, oh, this is dope.
Yeah.
This is so good. It's one of the best Zelda games. Like,
I know.
And that's a thing that, like, to say that someone's gonna comment and be like, oh, screw you, this is the best Zelda game. But like, Wind Waker's so good.
No, at the time I was so pro Twilight Princess. It's so pro the dark, gritty, gross colors, and I'm like, yeah, Wolf Link, yeah. And I was like, I hate Wind Waker. I'm never gonna play that.
Oh no! Like I like Twilight Princess. You know, it's good. It's also good in its own right for different reasons than you know, like Wind Waker is. But strictly visually speaking, I think Wind Waker outshines it. There are reasons I like both.
When it first was released, I was one of those.
Oh, Holly!
I was like, unacceptable. How dare you? I'm not a child.
No. But Link is.
I know.
So.
Yeah, let's see.
you know what is actually, there's a sort of misconception. People look at Wind Waker and they say, this is a game for kids. But, like, honestly, it's got some of the most down-to-earth writing in the game. Like, this game, it's a game that visually looks like a kid's cartoon, but, like, it doesn't talk down to you.
The game ends. Spoilers.
Yeah, I know. It's like the most gruesome ending. If that was real, like, animation.
If they did that in Twilight Princess,
Link
would go.
Warning.
Link flips in the air, comes down, and shoves his sword straight through the face of Ganondorf. So,
But like, Ganondorf's writing as a character is like he's so well developed in that game, and they haven't come close to that in any other game. He's just such a real character, and like you almost feel bad for him till you remember that you hate him, that you love to hate him. But like the King of Red Lions and Tetra and like Midna's the only character in Twilight Princess that compares to the great writing of the Wind Waker characters, But we're not talking about comparing these games. We're getting way off topic again.
We're good. We're done.
All right, so going back to the original topic, Link's Awakening remake, Holly, are you in favor? Yes or no? And would you rather see it on the 3DS or the Switch?
Oh, Link's Awakening?
Yes.
I mean, I want everything on my Switch.
All right.
So I love it so much. Just being able to handheld it and then easily put it on my TV, like it's phenomenal. So I mean, honestly, the more Zelda remakes, the better. So
all right.
Yeah, you can't go wrong with redoing it, I feel.
All right. What about you, Daniel?
I agree. The more Zelda remakes, the better. I'd be cool with it on my 3DS because, like, I don't have that many 3DS games, and if they gave it the same treatment that they gave Samus Returns, like that's an old original Game Boy game that got remade for 3DS, and I already raved about it in our top 5 games of 2017 thing.
Yeah.
But like the changes they made to that game were amazing, and that the attention to detail and the world building and everything was so great in that game. And I'm not saying that they have to overhaul it to the same degree, because I don't think Link's Awakening aged as poorly as Metroid 2. Metroid 2 is like almost, in my opinion, almost unplayable because of how poorly it aged, whereas Link's Awakening, I think it fared better through time. But like I guess I'd be game either way, but I can picture it happening more likely on the 3DS.
All right.
But yeah, maybe then I'll finally beat Link's Awakening, because I only got about like 3/4 of the way through it before. So don't hate me, everybody.
Don't worry, it's all good.
Final question for this topic. Of the two rumors, A Link Between Worlds being remade or Link's Awakening being remade, which would you rather be playing?
A Link Between Worlds.
All right. What about you, Daniel?
I think Link's Awakening, because A Link Between Worlds is still pretty new.
Yeah, it's on the newer side. Yeah.
So like, I'd like to see, Link's Awakening. It's a game that is like, even though it's kind of a side story, all things considered, sometimes those are the best Zelda games. Like
Majora's Mask.
Majora's Mask is the best example. Also, the great pinnacle of gaming that is Link's crossbow training.
Oh yes!
No, I'm kidding. But
I got that when it came out.
Link's Awakening it's oft overlooked, and it is a really good game. I feel bad that I never beat it, actually, but it's a really good game that's also really well written and a very sad ending. And yeah, I'd love to see it have the same treatment that A Link Between Worlds got, which was, in the works. I believe it started as A Link to the Past remake, then became A Link to the Past 2, and then became A Link Between Worlds. So even if it started as that remake and became a new project, like, hey, that's cool too. It's a new Zelda game, so I'm game. That sounds good to me too.
It would be,
I'm open-minded, Jesse.
It would be interesting if they did the Link Between Worlds treatment to Link's Awakening, to where it wasn't a remake of it, but like a reimagining, similar to A Link Between Worlds and A Link to the Past. Because, for those who don't know, as you said, A Link Between Worlds, it did start out with Miyamoto. He loved the 3DS. the 3D effect on it, and he wanted to remake A Link to the Past, which he said is one of his favorite Zelda games that he's made. He wanted to remake it for the 3DS. But halfway through development, Al Numa, who was the one in charge of the game, said he didn't want to do just a plain remake. He wanted to make a new game. But they had already developed this huge world and started working on the remake. So they just changed the story, changed some of the dungeons, added in like the wall mechanic where you can turn into a painting, and they turned it into a new game. Like it's more of a new game than it is a remake. So if they did that with Link's Awakening, that would be cool. But as of right now, I would say I would rather have A Link Between Worlds HD on the Switch than a simple remake of Link's Awakening, because I don't know how well the remake, like it could turn out to be a bad remake. There's always that chance. But if it's just a port of A Link Between Worlds and it runs in HD, I know it's going to be good. So I'm going to have to go with A Link Between Worlds. Of the two...
if it was a bad remake, I don't think they would release it. Like, Nintendo holds their IPs to a very high standard of quality.
Yeah,
true. So, I mean, like, I feel like, they wouldn't go through with it if... I don't know. They've made some missteps in the past, though, so who knows? Yeah.
Alright, so our second piece of news here. We were on that one for quite some time. All right, so
we got sidetracked.
This next one should be simple. So the videos on this channel are funded by supporters on Patreon like you. If you're a fan of this channel and would like to join on videos, receive shoutouts, watch videos early, have your questions answered, or have your topic discussed on our podcast, please consider supporting on Patreon for these and many other rewards for just $1. Shoutouts for this video includes Link Use the Triforce, Rusty Caulfield, Lovable Christy, Give Time 15, Shadow to Us, Robbie Morgan, and Lunarium. I want to thank all of you for everything you have done to help support this channel.